program. From America's Heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. Coming up, it's the Gary Russen program on GJRB. Stay with me for some great talk and other great stuff. News and comments coming up next on GJRB. It's 3 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, 4 East, and in the Pacific, it's 1 o'clock. From the GJRB News Desk, I'm Gary J. Russen. Here's some of the stories we're covering for you on True News and Comments. And to start off our news and comments this afternoon, interesting story topping our news this afternoon in this morning news conference. Donald Trump told what he felt about CNN. Have that coming up. Also, Obama's final speech to the nation. We got our highs and lows on that. Also, coming up, more stories, including America and how they're going to miss Obama. Yeah, I wonder about that one. And, of course, the Congress members, half of them, how many of them are Christian? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more coming up next as we begin the Gary Russen program. True News and Comment all coming up in just a little bit. Along with that, we'll have new weather on the 5s. So let's get things started. The Gary Russen program is about to begin with True News and Comment right here on GJRB. Let's get started in our True News and Comment this afternoon with an interesting story that's kind of interesting. And it starts off, of course, we're going to start our news with something real interesting here. And opens up with Donald Trump's news conference this morning. And a big argument he had with one of their reporters. Oh boy, this is really good. He slammed CNN, calling CNN fake news. Listen to this. This will blow your mind completely.
Question. Mr. President-elect. Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a you are attacking our news organization? Can you give us a chance to ask a question? Sir, can you say, Mr. President-elect, can you say categorically, Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
You have to ask yourself one question here now. Who's being rude?
Fake news.
Sir, can you say categorically that nobody...
Yeah, you have to wonder about that. Who actually is being rude there? The big question there is this, okay? Now, like I said before, Donald Trump's like, he is straightforward. He doesn't mince words. Got on Acosta, one of their news reporters, and boy, oh boy, was it like, chop the X, because he really laid into him there. I don't know. The conduct of Donald Trump in this situation is a little bit out of line. This was a news conference, okay? And being that it may, in a news conference, you have questions that are coming from the news media, asking questions to the president-elect. Okay, he's asking questions to the president-elect, and then you have Donald Trump sitting there, and he is just being outright rude too. I mean, look, why is he doing that? Okay, because what's up with that? Okay, we're looking at. The whole thing here, okay, the whole big picture here. It is a news conference. And the news conference means that the news media asks the president-elect questions. There's response to those questions, whether you like CNN or not, whether you even give about CNN, whether or not CNN is broadcasting fake news, you be respectful to that news person, to that reporter, because this is a news conference. You don't talk over them. You don't try to shut them up. You let them answer, or you let them ask the question. Donald Trump didn't do that. He sat there and he kept on talking over, not letting the CNN reporter say what he had to say, not letting the CNN reporter ask questions. So you have to wonder about that, okay? Because to me, that's not a news conference. That's starting an argument, and it's kind of stupid to waste all that time, with the time you've got. Let the press ask their questions. Whether you like the question or know how to answer it is a different story. Donald Trump was very rude too. So, Well, President Obama had his final speech yesterday. He spoke to a crowd of thousands reflecting on his last 8 years in office. He spoke about sharp racial divide and how it swept the nation during his last few years. He said, quote, "We're not where we need to be, and all of us have more work to do and to solve this racial economic equality in particular." He goes on to say the irony is that, and of course the irony of the racial tensions are now worse in America after 8 years of having a black president. If we were ever to have that chance to heal racial tensions, it is under Obama's presidency. Instead, Barack has done nothing to perpetrate the hostility by now standing for all Americans and recently being silent when it came to supporting police officers. The thing about it is here, I don't care now who's in office. Really, when you think about it, and as our pastor said it tons and tons of times, whoever is in the leadership of our country, Jesus Christ reigns and rules here. Now, whether you like Trump or not, he was chosen by Christ to play a role. You heard it on the last 7 days last week when we talked, when they had the discussion. Play a role. He has a role to play. Okay? And quite frankly, President Obama just stabbed our country in the back too many times. Okay? He did. He's in the back 1 times. And quite frankly, I don't think that I'm going to too much. Because he really is not the president. And he left the office. He left the office making himself look like a saint. Notice that? The man left the office making himself look like a saint. And I gotta tell you something, folks. I have to say that I'm sorry. I think that that he wasn't that great a president. Not every president was great. I don't care who they were. From Kennedy, Nixon. I did like Gerald Ford a little bit. I liked Bill Clinton a little bit, although he kind of got annoying. Any more scandals in his presidency than anyone I've ever seen. So I don't know. I think this is going to be an interesting 4 years. Really do. This is going to make for interesting news every time we broadcast today, or every time we broadcast here. Interesting news, and let's just see what happens in the long run. Okay, let's just see what transpires in the next 4 years. Let's give this man a chance, for heaven's sakes. Well, Dylan Roof was sentenced to death over the church shootings. He was sentenced to death after killing 9 in a black church, 9 black church members, and becoming the first to get the death penalty for a federal hate crime. Yeah, he got the death penalty for this. The jury unanimously voted that Roof should be receiving the death penalty for the Charleston shooting. And on June 17, 2015, Roof entered into the church there and killed parishioners. He then opened fire. 9 men and women were massacred. So, in December, jurors convicted Roof of 33 federal charges, including 9 counts. And during that trial, jurors saw a new video. We're seeing his shoulders to his feet, and also heard him confess his crime to the police.
I had to do it because somebody had to do something.
Jurors were also shown the video of Roof firing target practice. And he testified that 9 victims. He did not testify on his own defense. So basically, he testified to all 9 victims, shooting all 9 victims, and it was at least 60 times. At least 60 times. Wow. That's just like incredible. 60 times. Why shoot that many rounds? Why? You know, he was just sick, totally sick. This fella. And you know, as I always say, you know, may God have mercy on his soul, because it's not gonna look pretty for him on the other side. Most definitely not too pretty for that boy. First one to be massacred for a hate crime. How about that? And, you know, let's see, you know, I know I can become a very judgmental person in this stuff, okay? I realize that. But, you know, my situation is I see it fit. And I've learned this growing up. Okay, I learned this growing up. That when you kill someone, yeah, you're judged by it, yes. You kill someone. You know, you're going to burn unless you call out to Christ. And you ask for his forgiveness, because again, he paid that price, didn't he, for this boy, years and years and years ago. Why do you think he wept in the garden for this boy? Now in the future, he knows what was all gonna transpire when he died on that cross, and he died for our sins. And this young man is going to probably, more than likely, be judged on his actions. See what, I wonder what's going to happen to him. Terrible situation there. He's not going to burn unless he is serious about Jesus Christ. And he killed a lot of prisoners of this church, folks. So you're going to have to wonder about that one. Because in my eyes, he's destined for the hellfire. But apparently, they asked Jesus Christ for forgiveness. No, you might get spared. This is Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. This is True News and Comment. And we've got more coming up. As remember straight, as I've told you many times before, True News and Comment continues throughout the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online. True News and Comment continues throughout the Gary Russen program. And later on, we're going to talk about Kevin Costner in our sports page. He's revealing that Larry King's program that he's making a movie about the Cubs. And we'll talk about that. And sports page coming up next hour on the Gary Russen program. And also have celebrity birthdays coming up, famous birthdays. And don't forget, news and comment. I'm slowly going to start phasing this segment out because this is the Gary Russen program, GJRB's original news talk program. And I've got more coming up throughout the afternoon here on GJRB, late breaking news as well, and of course, true news on the hour all this afternoon here on GJRB Online. I'm Gary J. Russen. Coming up next, the Gary Russen program, in the beginning and continuing news and comment coming up next on GJRB.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland.
It was the year World War II ended, and the troops came home, and the music was fabulous, with big hits from Perry Como, Judy Garland, and the Andrews Sisters. The year was 1945. Listen to the year in music on the next Swing Time. I'm Gary Russen, and I'll be featuring the biggest hits from that year, along with trivial information about the prices of items such as groceries, the news events, the culture of 1945 on the next Swing Time. Next news at the bottom of the hour. Get the news praised, you're covered and informed. Now it's time for the Gary Russen program, discussing what's in the news, sports, and other things happening in the world. And now, you can talk to Gary live at area code 563-613-4260. In a sea of lies and deception, this is the beacon of truth on internet radio. This is the Gary Russen program on GJRB.
Hello everyone, hello everywhere across America and around the world. Welcome to the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online here on Spreaker. We opened up, of course, with our news and comment, but I'm going to be phasing out that feature, and this program becomes, and has been the original, since we started, the original news talk and commentary program. This is our news talk program. This is the Gary Russen program on semi-freestyle, middle of the week, over the hump day edition of the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. How you doing, everyone? Back on the air here on GJRB for 2017 under brand new stuff. I mean, we're just here, brand new stuff. Yeah, we're back. The Gary Russen program on GJRB. Glad you get me aboard. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. Stay with me. This is the brand new show, 2017, and we've gone pro with 100 hours of storage. I'll be broadcasting live continuously for 45 minutes for each segment, and I will cut down all the way down. This will only have 4 parts. One, our opening title, and then 2, 3, and of course the final part. And then I put it in the thing. It saves it automatically for me anyway. And I keep the program. And, of course, all the podcasts that are on here right now from last week, including last week's last 7 days, Bible study, from the 5th. The best of the Gary Russen program from Saturday. Still a pretty good show. Had some issues, you know. My microphone. Getting that habit of making sure I turn it off, because you get that horrible echo. A lot of other stuff we'll have coming up. And last 7 days we were talking about Israel. And talking about the big summit coming up. Big meeting to determine the Israeli, and we'll be talking about that later on, Israel's Palestinian state. You know, one thing that I understand about this is that people don't realize that the people who are upset about Obama leaving, upset because Trump is in there. Granted, yeah, Trump is not the best, but he's willing to save Israel. And he's willing to, because, look, we need to support Israel here, okay? And Obama wasn't going to do it. He wants to divide it. He wants to do damage to it. And, woe to the nation who does not want to support Israel for some reason. Why is that? What's wrong with that? Why are we so against Israel? A lot of reasons. But they are. Well, I'm not. But there's a lot of people that are. We need to stand up for Israel, and I don't know why people are so dead set against that. I mean, what is the problem with with supporting Israel? That's what I like to know. And I'll have my question. I always have a thing called matter of opinion, and I kind of leave it to you. Call up our program, answer a program. I thought I brought my cell in here, but I'll get it probably within the next break. But the question being that why is that? What is wrong with supporting Israel? We're going to ask that question today. Also, what do you feel about Obama leaving, and what do you think of the new administration? Now, next week, next Friday, I'm going to be doing way out there, the strange, the bizarre, the unusual. A week from this coming Friday, we're going to be on about the same time. I don't know exactly when Donald Trump's going to get inaugurated, but I'm hoping that we will be on the air about the same time, because I want to cover anything that would have happened during that situation or that time. I want to cover that, and we're going to do that. It's a semi-freestyle. That means whatever goes. We just have fun here this afternoon here on the Gary Russen program, here on GJRB online on Spreaker across America and around the world. Coming up, I'll have weather in the news. I do that usually. If I don't do it the first hour, I do it the second hour. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it the second hour. And we'll do some more of those. And then weather, of course, our weather on the 5s. I got that coming up. I'll have some of your cities nationwide, giving you some national temperatures as well. So be aware of that. We're going to be giving you your national temperatures all throughout the show, and giving the weather for you. So it's all coming up. And also coming up this next half hour, we'll talk about sports. That'll be next Friday and next Saturday. We're on the air live. Next Friday and next Saturday. Next Friday, of course, like I said, last 7 days and way out there. Next Friday, and then Saturday, we're going to be doing Gary J's Sports Page. And that's our sports talk show. And we're going to talk about Kevin Costner. We're going to talk about this a little bit. Kevin Costner wants to make a movie about the Cubs. He wants to make a movie about the Cubs, and we're going to talk about that coming up. So you're going to want to check that out. Yeah. Anyhow, got that all coming up your way, so I hope you'll stay with me. The Gary Russen program on GJRB online on Spreaker across America and around the world. Let's take a look now at the weather on the 5s across America. And another strong storm system impacting California and Nevada, Florida occurring. You're expecting several more rivers to overflow its banks at the end of the week. Lower snow levels are beginning to be are bringing difficulty there, if not possible travel conditions. The Trans-Sierra passes elsewhere, and of course there's some freezing rain and high winds occurring in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. That's our area here in the Clinton Quad Cities in Iowa and Illinois. We are going to have an interesting weekend. Expected that we're going to get some freezing rain, and it's going to get pretty nasty this weekend. And I'll keep you on top of that as well. As we get all of that. Weather on the 5s here on GJRB online on Spreaker across America. I'm Gary J. Russen. We'll be right back with more of the Gary Russen program right here. Stay tuned. We got more to come here on GJRB.
After 1 year, the wait is over. Now join Pastor Ron Johnston and a panel of men and women to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. In this world of chaos and upheaval, this is the program that puts it all into perspective. How will we survive? God only knows. So trust Him and listen to the last 7 days.
Uploaded as a podcast or live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. We all run a busy schedule, and maybe we don't have time to catch the Gary Russen program. Well, here's the solution. The best of the Gary Russen program, highlighting the most memorable parts of recent shows. Each podcast I will play clips of previous shows and talk about them. Watch for podcast uploads during the GJRB's podcast weekend on GJRB's public site on Spreaker, reflecting on the past memories of past shows. The best of the Gary Russen program on GJRB.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else.
Hey, all right, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
The mainstream media is not telling you the truth. They have their own agenda. At GJRB, I have mine, telling you what's really going on with sources like End Time Headlines, InfoWars, Coast to Coast AM, and most importantly, CBN News, keeping you on top of what's happening at the top and bottom of each hour during the Gary Russen program. I'll give you the news and analysis of what I think with Gary J's News and Comment. Get the real news. True news. News that's not in the mainstream. On GJRB.
From the GJRB News Desk, I'm Gary J. Russen. There's some of the stories we're covering for you in the newsroom today. President-elect Donald Trump held his press conference this afternoon and had a big attack on CNN's reporters. Story on that coming up throughout the afternoon. Also this afternoon, we're reporting on Wolf, who got the death penalty after shooting parishioners in a church. We'll have that story and a whole lot more. Keep in touch. GJRB Online, True News on the Hour. Coming up at 4. Gary J. Russen, GJRB Online, Translate Weather and Fox News. Brought to you by Spreaker. You too can have a radio show on the internet.
Whether it's baseball, basketball, hockey, even bowling, it's covered on Gary J's sports page. I'll talk about what's going on in the world of sports all over the USA. We'll read you interesting articles about the players and even keep up with the scores of the games going on live. I'll even have guests from time to time and just talk sports. Better than any newspaper page, it comes alive. Gary J's sports page, alternating Saturdays at 2 o'clock Central on GJRB Online.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland.
If you're a new emerging artist and want your songs out there, the place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation, a website purely devoted to new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music, check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online is up and coming, drop me an email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB Online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.
Watch. Pray. For you not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pandemics, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction. Volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, signs in the heavens. Keep up with world news and events you hear on GJRB's News on the Hour. Go to End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org. With a lot of chaos happening, keep in touch with End Time Headlines and GJRB. Watch. Pray. For we not know what hour the Son of God will return. Prophecy, New World Order, terrorism, economic collapse, wars, pest, Israel. When they say peace, then cometh sudden destruction, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions. End Time Headlines at www.endtimeheadlines.org.
That sound more like everyone else than anyone else.
Hey, alright, it's Kip Casper.
Spreaker is the website which turns anyone into a radio DJ. Log on to Spreaker.com for listening to thousands of radio channels and start creating your own radio today.
You hear great jazz on GJRB with the best of jazz, up-and-coming jazz, and smooth afternoon.
If you can't get enough of jazz and you live in the Quad Cities area, tune in to KALA, St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa, at 88.5 on the FM dial. Along with some of that great smooth jazz, you'll hear a lot of great jazz programming.
And programming in other great music formats.
Like blues, urban, including rap. Also classic R&B and Motown with David Baker on Rewind, Friday nights at 6 p.m. Central. In addition, you get programming in Spanish and some great gospel programming too. For more information on that great programming you'll hear, check out their schedule at www.sau.edu/KALA. Even if you don't live in the Quad Cities area, you can enjoy KALA anywhere in the world with their internet stream. Connect with KALA. Listen and enjoy.
If you're a new emerging artist and want your songs out there, the place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation, a website purely devoted to new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music, check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online's Up and Coming, drop me an email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radioland. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between, like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radioland.
Well, I had a bumper piece saved, but unfortunately it was not saved. I had a piece of good music too for that bumper, and I lost it. I'm going to have to find it later. It's great stuff. Gary J. Russen with you on GJRB Online. I don't know. For some reason, I just lost this really good bumper music, and I had it saved as a link. And apparently, probably when I did that, I didn't save the document with that link on it, so it didn't save, so I don't have it. So I'll just have to find it again. It way down the page on my saved file, so I'll have to look for it later. Hey, you got Gary Russen here on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America and around the world. Glad you could be with me today. Hope you're enjoying the program across America today, the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online. And I hope you'll stay with me for all the great talk and craziness we have all coming up for you here on GJRB Online. And you want to be part of the program, you do is just join me on the show. And, there's an easy way of doing that. There is. And you can be part of it. All you got to do is pick up the line or GaryJ65@yahoo.com. Or you can text me. I got my chat room open. And I also got Skype open. As a matter of fact, I got to do that now. I got to go in there and get Skype. And put myself online and see if maybe we can get somebody on there with us. And go on live here. Also coming up this next half hour, we're going to talk about some things that didn't get a chance to get a touch on in our first 15 minutes. So we're going to do that. And, of course, don't forget we do have that. We're going to have our obits coming up. And also celeb birthdays. And if you've got a birthday, drop me a line. GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I got some of my Facebook friends that are having a couple of birthdays and a couple of Facebook birthdays coming up. We're going to announce those on the air. And we'll do a scroll through social media. Also coming up here on the Gary Russen program on GJRB on Semi-Freestyle Friday and Semi-Freestyle Wednesday, middle of the week edition of the Gary Russen program. And that means that all things go. No holds barred. Just wide open. You never know what's going to happen on this program, folks. There's no doubt about it. There is no limit to what can happen on this program. So you want to be a part of that? Hey, drop me a line. We're going to be getting back into the show here on GJRB Online. We're going to take a local 9-foot my closed circuit station. Going to take a local break and then be back on the other side with more of the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online on Spreaker. And I'm glad you can be aboard and glad to have the 100 hours and 45 minutes of live broadcasting, 100 hours of storage, and GJRB is gone pro with our Air Talent plan, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. So we're going to be right back. Got more stuff coming up in the next 45 minutes, so stay with me. The Gary Russen program continues on GJRB in just moments. So stay with me for more stuff, and we'll have more fun here on the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online. And it's too bad I couldn't find that piece. I was looking for Billy Preston's Out of Space. Here, hey, wait, here I got it. Let's see what we got here. We're going to take you out with this fabulous stuff. You know, this is great stuff. You know, bringing back memories from the 70s, because that is still the best music. Be right back. More to come on the Gary Russen program on GJRB.